This is probably going to be one of the most important video you watch, why everything changes after saving 10K.
So the best advice I've ever received from a millionaire was this: stop focusing on making $1 million. Instead, focus on your first 10,000. And at the time, I didn't fully understand what that meant, but I'm really glad I listened. In this video, I'm sharing 6 reasons why everything changes after saving your first $10,000. First, reaching $10,000 shatters the first mental barrier of wealth building. Like all of a sudden, the thought of saving $15,000 or even $20,000 doesn't seem so crazy anymore.
Distant.
A 1997 study by Bandura found that breaking mental barriers is something that many people overlook. But it is by far the most important aspect of personal finance because you need self-efficacy to improve. And it's been years since you've taken the SAT. Self-efficacy is basically when you believe in your own capabilities to accomplish something. Like if you start playing a brand new video game and you're a level 1 warrior, there is literally no way in heck that you think you can beat a level 99 mage. It's literally impossible. Bandura found that people who were given specific, smaller goals were way more successful than those who were given larger, vague goals. And this is something that I've experienced firsthand. Like,
so if you're in the UK or in America, I would say, oh my days, he had to start from somewhere. Look how young he looks. He looks completely different. It's the hair. It's the hair. It's crazy what hair does. But I would say, look, wherever you are right now, if you might be homeless or broke, I would say just start off by 1,000, even deeper than what he's saying. I would say start off, save your first $1,000 or 1,000 pounds or yen, wherever you are. And then you'll quickly start to realize it's going to build up. But I would say the quickest way, I might make a separate video on this, the quickest way to do it is by starting to work 12-hour shifts. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a plan that you need to deploy, 12-hour shifts. You get that quick. I'm on about liquid profit saved, but let's carry on.
Grow of money. So when I first took my personal finances seriously, I couldn't even wrap my head around like a 5-figure number. Like even when I was doing side hustles, like reselling candy at school or designing clothes and selling them, I was still only thinking in hundreds, maybe thousands, but tens of thousands never crossed my mind. But when I first saw my bank balance go to 10,000, it completely transformed how I perceived money. And I know, it's just numbers on the screen, but for someone who didn't really grow up with much, just seeing that for the first time, it just makes everything feel possible, you know? And for some reason, $10,000 is always the first mental barrier for many people. Well, a 2010 study found that people respond much more to goals or objectives framed in round numbers. Like if you save $9,999, it's essentially the same as $10,000, but for some reason, it just doesn't hit the same as when we see those nines turn into zeros and we literally see 5 figures in the bank account. Or if your Apple Watch tells you that you've walked 9,892 steps a day, there's a good chance that you would go out of your way to walk another 108 steps to round it all out. 100%. Next, your first $10,000 is only the beginning because $10,000 builds a nice momentum for your next financial goal. Your first 10K is like the first snowball that you roll down a hill. As the snowball rolls along, it's gonna start picking up snow and it gets larger and larger and the momentum carries it down the hill. At first, it's not gonna seem like much, right? It's just snow going down the hill. But eventually, over time, the momentum will keep on piling on and it's gonna become overwhelming. Let's say you start at...
And you start screaming, oh my days, I can't believe it. And plus the other thing that I thought he hasn't mentioned yet is you need to celebrate these wins. So once you reach 10,000, for example, dollars or pounds, treat yourself. Because you want to attach those emotions of rewards, reaching a major milestone. You want your mind to trigger that, okay, yeah, now, when I reach then another 5K to make it 15, I'm going to treat myself by doing X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? So treat yourself because you've worked hard.
$0 and you save and invest $1,000 a year with an average 10% return on your investment in the stock market. Getting to your first $10,000 in this scenario would take you about 8 years. But a mistake that most people make now is that they think it'll take them 8 years times 10 or 80 years in total to get to $100,000. But that's wrong. Thanks
because of compound.
Thanks to the momentum we just talked about, it'll take significantly less time for you to get to 100K. Like after you have your first 10K, getting your next 10K to $20,000 would only take you 4.7 years because your initial 10,000 is generating you interest and you're still keeping at it with the $1,000 contributions every year. Now 20K to 30K is gonna take about 3.5 years, 30K to 40K is gonna take about 3.3 years, and then from 40K to 50K 50K, it's gonna be about 2.2 years. It's fascinating to see that once you reach $10,000, you can reach each additional $10,000 faster than the previous one. And remember, this is assuming that you don't get any raises and you're only able to save $1,000 a year. If you can increase your income over time and you can save $2,000 or $3,000 a year, just imagine how much faster it would be to reach $100,000. Next, if you ever planned anything big, like a surprise birthday party, a trip, event, or vacation, then you've experienced Murphy's Law, which states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Because suddenly your car is gonna break down, you're gonna lose your job, or you're gonna break your foot, and now you owe a ton of money in medical bills. The good news is there's a really solid chance that $10,000 is gonna dig you out of most common emergency expenses. Essentially, having $10,000 puts a sizable buffer between you and your financial emergencies.
He's not going to say it. I'm going to say it here. Basically, you want to become your own bank. You want to be able to borrow against yourself and replenish. Meaning, once you build the 10K, you don't need to borrow money from anyone. If there's an emergency, mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this, my mama said, meaning there will be an emergency. Murphy's Law. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. So if something goes wrong, you need to fix your car, health, or whatever it is, you could borrow against yourself without having to get into debt and pay interest, because your money is interest free, right? You borrow against yourself, and once you overcome that obstacle financially, you replenish your bank account, aka your bank with your bank account with 10K in it. Does that make sense? If you start to think like this, I promise you're going to be doing it. That's how I done it. That's how I reached that first milestone, and that's how I'm about to do it again, just for the sake of it.
And this is really important because it's gonna give you peace of mind just by having this buffer kept to one side and available for you to tap into whenever you need it. It's gonna help you free up your mental energy to focus on more important things like your health. And I don't think this is said enough, but it's great to build your wealth, but it's equally, if not more important, to invest in your body. Like, I struggled with going to the gym for a long time because I always had an excuse when life got busy. But what I think is helpful is just having someone there to hold you accountable to make sure you prioritize your health and body. That's why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor, Trainwell. Trainwell's mission is to help you get strong cardio activity.
All right, let's get
and he holds me accountable. Link gets 14 days free significantly as the amount.
So increase your returns. I'm just going to tell you the remainder, okay? You do want to make sure you invest in an asset that allows you to increase your return. So if you can put your 10K in a high yield savings account, by all means do it. But the returns obviously are going to be, even if it's high, it's not going to be that high, all right? It's not just going to turn into 20,000 in under a year or two even, or even 3. Okay, so you need to start strategizing and thinking of ways outside of, you know, your normal day-to-day activities financially. What can I invest in? Could I invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum? Could I maybe invest into a blue chip company, stocks and shares? Can I dump this into an ISA, so try and max out my ISA and go about it that way? You have to get or find a way to multiply. It's a multiplication game, meaning you need to find the next 1x. Okay, you want to play safe. You don't want to go 10x or I want to 50x, because that's how you end up losing your money in crypto, essentially. Trust me, it's happened to me, okay, numerous of times. It's that part of investing that you begin to build your investing muscle so you can understand and delay gratification. Less greedy, you're more strategic, and you're less likely going to lose your money. But don't forget, investing, there's always a risk in losing your money regardless. Let's see some of these comments. It's true for me. When I saved my first 10K, it empowered me to keep on saving. And now that it is all I can think about every day, how much can I save? See, you have people literally saying this is 100% true. I think after the first 10K, seeing 5 figures in your bank account is a total mind shift for the average person. Most middle class people don't have 10K in their bank account. So seeing that 10K sets you on a path, sets you on the path, essentially. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's so true, man. It's so true. Nobody's coming to save you. That's why I make these videos for my younger self. I wish I had someone like me who kept it real, who's not here trying to be a YouTuber and try to make sure everything's super polished, amazing, clean. I'm keeping it real. If you don't do this for yourself, my boy, no one is coming, bro. No one. So get your finger out your butt and get started. Start a side hustle. Start building. And Rome wasn't built in one day. Save that £1. If that's all you could do, save that £1, because guess what? £1 is a shapeshifter, meaning £1 can easily shape and morph into £15, $15, $100, $200, £200, £300. Before you know, you're like, oh my days, I've actually got a buffer. You're just trying to create buffer in case something goes wrong, but then the more you build, you become almost hooked to it. All right, like, share, join the Patreon, link is in the description down below for videos that I can't post on here, and I'll catch you on the next one.